Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me on another round in our Challenge Circuit Design Contest series. This time we're playing at Warren Heath by CG444. Apparently, this course came together in just a couple of weeks. He lost or had a problem with his original concept, so smashed this out rather quickly. It's kind of inspired by Woodall Spa and Swinley Forest, and as you can kind of see from this screenshot, any sort of um, British heathland courses. Um, so we'll take a look from above and see what we're working with. One of the aspects that he's taken on is a tight routing, million square yards. You see that I think he said this was 1200 by 800. Um, we've got a lot of the holes kind of go up and down. We have got a bit of variety, so we will face some different conditions. Um, we've got a river involved, and we crossed that a few times, so hopefully we use that interestingly in a few different ways. And we've got this cluster of greens down here, it seems. He's got 4 greens inside 200 yards. Has maybe another cluster up here, is that? Can't quite tell. But let's dive into having a look at some of these holes in a bit more detail. The first thing I notice off the tee, aside from quite a nice look, kind of really nailed that vibe that he's going for quite well. You can't actually see any of these bunkers from back on the tee. That's kind of an occupational hazard going for these flat bottom style. It's quite difficult to get the sculpting right so that you can see any sand. But we're quite a flat, low-lying course. Although this hole is 35 feet uphill, so there is some elevation to it. Just a shame that we can't really see where the trouble is. We're hitting over this bunker and possibly running into these bunkers on the right, and we don't really have much informing us of where we do or don't want to go. With this wind, I'm just going to try and draw one slightly around the corner and hope to hold it. A bit fast, but get through. Just caught up in the heavy rough. We probably do want to be further over to the right on this hole anyway, from our tee shot. But hopefully I can just hack this up the hole far enough. It doesn't feel like we've been punished too much for missing the fairway, although we don't really have an option of going for the green in 2. We can bump this one up to kind of pitching distance, and hopefully knock one close and tap in for birdie. No, not a great shot. Left myself kind of between clubs and tried to flop it. So definitely feel that I've missed out on kind of making us. Well, no, I don't, because I've chipped in for birdie. But that feels like a hole that I should be birdieing anyway. So didn't play it great, but got away with birdie. Right, a nice shortish par 3. Similar kind of view to what we had on the first, where we're kind of separated by these channels of trees, but the fact that they kind of a lot of trunk before we get into the leaves, we can see through to other parts of the course. That's quite nice. Also means that in the event that our ball is kind of under the trees, we kind of have a shot at getting out and advancing our ball. Sort of a tough pin position defended by this little shoulder of the green. Hopefully if I can take enough off this and maybe get one close. Just draw it into the wind a touch and hope it holds up. Yeah. And a chance for another birdie. A little bit of break on it. Hey, 2 under 3-2. Right, par 4 with a bunker down the middle. We can see the sand in this bunker, so I like that. That works nicely. We've definitely got like a low side and a high side. I feel like it might benefit from being a little bit bigger, but it's doing its job well. We've got a big side of the fairway down the right, but then we're coming in over the trouble here and probably involving this slope a bit more in our approach, making life a bit more difficult for us. Whereas if we play down this side, we've got a much tighter fairway, risking running into this bunker, but we get a better angle in. So I'm not swinging great at the moment, so I'm going to play safe, play down the right. Very nice looking hole again. I like the fact that we've got denser planting on the outskirts of the course, and as I previously mentioned, the trees that are a bit higher canopies on the middle of the course. Between clubs, maybe just take a little bit off this. Wind's getting up. Coming in over a bit of a kind of wasty area that looked nice again. Not the best shot, just drifted off the green. Three holes and one putt so far. So, right, a nice downhill drive here. We've got not a lot of trouble, kind of off the tee. Just looks like we want to be on the fairway. But I suppose if we lay up back here, we can get kind of a more direct route down the length of the green. But it does slope from front to back, so it might be more difficult to hold. But if we play down the left side, we haven't got a lot of green to work with in front of that pin. So I think kind of I don't want to get too much of this drive. And have slightly pulled it, and the wind's pushed me further left, so not ideal. It's kind of not what I wanted to do, but can I hopefully still pitch this reasonably close? Hopefully get enough spin to kind of hold the green. Or not hit it hard enough and miss the green. I don't fancy my chances now for a third in 4 holes. Not bad. So, yeah, that feels like a hole that I possibly missed out on making birdie. Didn't play it all that fantastically. Right, so we're crossing the stream here, but we're kind of crossing the stream at a distance that doesn't really impact our shot, unless we hit one really terribly. We have a bit of a different defence as well. No bunker there, just a mound. So we want to play down the right for a bit of a better angle in. But then that's bringing this gorsy, heathery planting into play. Further left, tougher angle in, bringing the bunkers into the question. Again, same sort of comment about would be nice to see some of the sand, but again, I understand that it's not always practical with that kind of flat bottom look. So I've given myself a decent angle in, slightly uphill, but a short enough shot that hopefully I can knock this one up and close. Ooh, a bit too much. Found the back of the green. Greens are kind of medium speed, so nothing too crazy. Kind of suits our targeted difficulty reasonably well. Looks like they could probably be turned up a bit as well without sort of suffering too much. So it's always good when a course can play in multiple different conditions. Little extra detail with a fence. Kind of, yeah, he's buried that, done that trick, because that's obviously a splined fence, but buried. So just separating us from another hole down here. Nice little attention to detail. Wouldn't have thought he'd have much time to do that in only 2 weeks, but so again we're crossing back over the stream, but it's not coming into play. So remains to be seen whether maybe that's just a way of introducing it, but it feels a little bit like we've kind of wasted using that stream on these 2 holes so far, at least in terms of in the game. Real life, maybe the fact that there's water there would impact people that off the tee that we're so what 500-yard hole and the water's it's only just over 200 yards. So for like a in the game we're never hitting it in the water, but in real life maybe people are struggling to clear it or miss hitting it or whatever. Really nice looking approach. I like how this green site's sitting like in the corner of the property. Dense planting again round the back of it. And the overcast look is working quite nicely for what we've got. reminds me of when I played Walton Heath in very similar weather conditions. So perhaps that's a bit of personal experience, kind of adding a bit of bias to my round. But I like this look for a good part for Heathland style courses. Right, this looks like quite a tight drive. Those trees are sort of imposing on us. Um, what do we want to do? We're getting the water a little bit more involved here. I will say we're crossing it 3 times in 3 holes. Um, it's just something that kind of can get a little repetitive when you just hit over it each time. Um, but pins at the back, but kind of a bowl area to funnel shots down to it. So if we can hit the right side of the fairway, we get a little bit more room to run out into, and maybe a slightly better angle into the green. Don't want to get all of this though. Might have taken a hair too much off that, but no, that's just about perfect. Slightly uphill with the wind. Bit of a bowl-shaped green, so it's hopefully going to kind of filter this ball round towards the pin. And I'm kind of rewarded for as good a drive as I could possibly hit. And then I hit average approach that gets a very good bounce. So a bit more luck than judgment on that one. And that's kind of why I'm wary of using a punch bowl green on a par 5. Because I've just hit a pretty poor approach and got a good bounce. Kind of an almost inevitably good bounce because everything's funneling me down towards the pin and made an eagle. When really I feel like I should have been punished for a swing that bad. Drivable-ish, maybe, in the right conditions, if I really get hold of this. Wind's kind of working against me, but the contours are hopefully going to sort of push this ball down towards the green. I feel like I don't have a lot of reason not to go for this. Probably, if I hit it well, I'm over this bunker. I'm probably collecting down away from this bunker. Again, would like to be able to see that sand as well. And then if I'm up near the green, I feel like I have a good chance of making up and down for my birdie. Whereas if I'm laying up back here, that's not the most accessible pin position. A little bit of contouring around it. So I'm just going to try and hit a big one and hope to get maybe a little bit lucky like on the previous hole. Or I've just pushed the absolute pants off of it. But got away with it. And just kind of rest my case about it being a bit of an awkward pitch. But I haven't played for this, so I do deserve life being a bit more difficult for me here. That's probably spinning back down the hill, isn't it? Yeah. I worried that might happen. And still got a birdie chance. Haven't hit it. Gave it a good line. But on a shorter par 4, only 350-ish yards, really feel like I should be making birdie, and I haven't, so definitely feels like I've missed out. Right, we get the water a little more involved again on this hole. A bit of a kind of Augusta 12 vibe on the green shape. Got our thumbprint. I imagine there's a pin in there that would play quite fun. Going to just try and add a little to this wedge. That's quite a tight pin. I don't mind being in this bowl and sort of two-putting for par, but got a chance of getting it close. Needs to be a bit lucky. Kind of on the right here. Simple clubhouse in the background. That's kind of going to go hand in hand with getting things done in 2 weeks. Not the best putt. Just got away from me a touch. I feel like that could end up being, depending on the pin position, one of the harder holes on the course. Right, a nice blind drive to get the back nine underway. I'd just be aware, I imagine it's probably quite unlikely, but that aiming point is kind of potentially in play, and it would be terrible luck to catch hold of a drive, sort of maybe bottom groove one, particularly in real life, and just fizz it straight into the post. But yeah, in game, I'm just going to bomb it. straight over the top, no problems. Punch bowl green's a little bit more appropriate on a long par 4, especially with a blind tee shot. We're not really going to know exactly where we're aiming up with our tee shot, what side of the fairway we want best. So this gives us every chance to kind of get close, or at least be a bit more forgiving on a sort of suboptimal approach shot. Quite a generous pin position there, with a fair bit of helping slopes. So make birdie on what could potentially end up being a tougher hole, depending on where the pin is, I think, on that green. Right, another long par 5. Right, this is going to be an interesting risk-reward second shot if we hit a good drive. Ideally, maybe if we're slightly further left, we have a bit more of a chance, a bit more room for error with carrying this stream. Might work a touch better if the stream was more of a diagonal, and then we're really exaggerating. If this bit came around here, for example, and then a left coming in from the left side of the fairway would be able to run up that side. Whereas kind of wherever we are on the fairway, we're still kind of going to have to carry it over a pretty similar length carry with similar amount of rollout on all sides. But interesting that we're going to kind of be questioning the ego. I've really got hold of that drive, hit it well, put a bit more behind it, and so now, yeah, definitely the question of if I'm going for it or not. Obviously, the worst miss here is putting it in the water. Wind at the back, maybe a chance to add a little bit, and if I can chase this onto the green. Why would I lay up? Well, obviously I'd lay up to take the water out of the equation. But obviously that then takes sort of the chance of making eagle and probably makes making birdie a little bit harder. Whereas going for it, possibly more stupid rather than brave, but I'm going to take it on. Pushed it, need to get lucky, hit that tree. Oh, I got very lucky and bounced over the water, so didn't necessarily deserve that luck. I feel like I've been a lot luckier than your average person would in this round. But fortune favours the brave, I guess, and a good chip. That wasn't the easiest shot. So 2 good shots and 1 very lucky shot on my way to birdie there. Crossing over the road on our way in to the club. Nice, again, attention to details. Might be able to add some of those new road marking assets as well to really touch that up. But looks nice. I like it. I tend to struggle to make routings that come back to the clubhouse at different times work. I feel like I'm sort of forcing them, but that felt very nice. Very made a lot of sense. We're just playing past the clubhouse. We're not making a fuss over it, I don't think. Left myself a really tricky putt here, and I've underhit that. Nice view of the clubhouse again as well. Kind of a benefit of coming back to it at a different point in the round. We get to show it off again. Okay, so playing down the left side of the fairway gives us a more direct route, and we're not playing so much down the slopes of the green, especially to this pin position. The more central and the more right side of the fairway we go, the harder our approach is going to be to stick. I like that we don't have too much else complicating things. The course has probably been a touch on the easy side, but at the same time, I've been fairly lucky to get to my 8 under so far. That's possibly because I haven't necessarily been punished for shots like that have just missed, and I have chipped in 2 or 3 times. Gave it another go. So yeah, not been overly punished for poor approaches, which I suppose plays into making life easier and gives me that chance of going low. Right, this is a bit more of a question again because we've got the diagonal carry. Might like a bit more wiggle room for a layup on this side. Like if we're laying up here, we might as well just try and go for the green because we're just as likely to roll out, or nearly just as likely to roll out through there as we are to roll out through the green. The only thing is we're carrying a bit less of the water, but then maybe bring this pond into play if we hit a fast and hook it. Slightly into the wind. I'm going to go for it because I've had my fair share of luck. Feeling pretty good about the round. I don't mind if that collects in the bunker over the back. It doesn't even get that far, just on the edge of the fairway. So not bad. I think I've used all my chip-ins. But a pretty easy birdie. Could rack up a number though. I feel like that's a hole that you should be birdieing again. And if you don't, possibly kind of giving up shots to the field. Nice contrast that we're following a really short par 4 with quite a long par 3. If I didn't have the wind at my back, this would be a similar club in, actually. I like the theory behind like these bunkers aren't really getting involved with the green. They're just a shame that we can't see them more or at all, as the case may be. Might be able to from the forward tees. Yeah, we get an idea that there's something there. But the chance to maybe run one up, I'm just happy with on the green, really. Oh, that's done very well. So a long par 3, I'd always be happy getting away with a par, but giving myself a good chance of birdie. I just left it outside. That's unfortunate. That's kind of the first hole that maybe I should have birdied and I haven't. There's been a few that I shouldn't have, and I did. A nice narrow shoot down the edge of the plot. This is the third or fourth time that we're crossing the stream without it really impacting things. And again, the bunkers are a little flat. But other than that, I really like, again, coming back to this dense planting on the outskirts of the course. The Heathland vibe's still working really well. And a good drive right down the middle. A little bit into the wind, so making life a little tough for me. Just a hole that's going to play, well, obviously playing into the wind is going to play longer than its yardage. But sort of felt deceptively long. Didn't have a lot going on for it, but I feel like I've hit 2 really good shots there, and I'm still not guaranteed of making the birdie. Yeah, like a sneaky level of difficulty to that hole, maybe. Just about caught the edge and dropped. So, finished birdie for a 60 on the card. A short par 3. This is going to be tough to stick. That's a really small little kind of finger of green poking out. Framed nicely by this bunker around the front. Bunker at the back is completely hidden. Kind of got no concept that might be there from the tee. But we've got a little bit of an infinity green at the back. Not properly because obviously we don't have the horizon kind of disappearing behind it, but a little bit difficult to kind of judge where the back of the green might be. Spin, spin. Yeah, good shot. Bit of a testing breaker. And I've missed it. Missed my chance at going low. Rolled the par putt in though. So yeah, a couple of holes in a row there that maybe well, 3 holes maybe that I should have been birdieing, and I haven't. But a par 5 to finish. We use this big water hazard. maybe you don't need to, but maybe this would make sense to be fairway as well. I feel like it kind of is just existing in a weird state of not really doing anything. It's just rough. We probably want to fade this around the corner a little, but the closer we get to the water, the better angle we get in. We're taking as much of this bunker and this mound out of commission as possible. Long green, water all the way down the left side of the hole. So I'm going to try and fade this one round. Maybe going a little bit too aggressive. Oh, got away with it. Extra got away with it. It's trickled into the fairway as well, but kind of a suboptimal angle coming in. But if I can get it up and over that mound, might be able to get it on near the green and have a chance of birdie at least. It has to be lucky. Wasn't lucky, and this would be absolute jail in a real round of golf. I mean, it's not going to be the easiest shot as it is, but obviously, unfortunately, this kind of in the game, this shot isn't really accurately depicted how hard it could be to get out of that. But that's probably as good as I'd do out of that in the real world. And I've hit a terrible chip for my last one of the round. So yeah, not played that hole brilliantly. Probably again left a shot out there by only making par on it. Set the first few holes alight with a bit of luck and some decent play. And I'm not sure if the course bit back a little or if I just drifted away on the back nine. But a really cool effort. Really enjoyed the visuals of the course. Were fantastic. A bit of an understated look, but done really well. Really neat and clean. Like that a lot. And for a course that was built in just a couple of weeks, that's a fantastic effort. So thanks very much for getting this out there. Really enjoyed myself, and best of luck in the contest. I'm going to be starting work on a complete course construction series here on YouTube. If there's anything you guys want to see in that, any ideas you maybe like me to try and get involved, if you let me know, that'd be really cool. But other than that, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to catch you again soon. Bye for now.